The Sacred Oath story actually goes all the way back to 1985 when they came out of the Connecticut scene, and their indie-released first album, A Crystal Vision, pretty much inspired what became power metal across the world. And then all went dark. And there's been a rebirth of the band with some of the members from previous incarnations, with some new members, and there's a brand new album that's coming out called Sacred Oath, and the band has actually transitioned from being the founders of power metal to being the founders of what I like to call traditional metal. So we're here tonight with the members of Sacred Oath. Gentlemen.
Hello, Roger.
Yeah, good to see you all. And I guess the first question I wanted to ask you, when you look at the accomplishments of this band, how do you weigh them in the sense that the first record, A Crystal Vision, as I just mentioned, very much inspired what became power metal. A lot of people seem to claim that that was the foundation, the cornerstone of what became power metal. And much to your surprise, years later, after the band had disbanded, the album had gone out of print, you found out that there was actually an audience that wanted that album, that was into the band. How does that weigh against something like a new album, say the Sacred Oath album, which manages to rack up 300,000 downloads on iTunes Discovery Download? How do you weigh those two accomplishments?
Well, the first thing I would have to say is that we never set out to establish power metal. I mean, we just do what we do. And it's really based in traditional metal. To have it come back to us as having been sort of a predecessor of the whole power metal movement that went on is an honor for us, although we don't consider ourselves really power metal. We're a traditional metal band. As far as the new record and how that relates to the first album, this new record we're very excited about it. It's a rebirth for us in a way, in that it's the first brand new material that we've put together on a recording in the last 20 years. And not that we've been inactive for 20 years, but as a band we have. Mm-hmm. And it feels great to have put together this album and have it be so well received.
Do you think it's a case of actually getting back together and putting this new music out at the absolute right time? Because, you know, we're using the term traditional metal, which has a timelessness to it. And I would think that if you had tried to do this maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been met with such a resounding popularity. You know, if there were an iTunes 10 years ago and a Discovery Download, would you have gotten 300,000 hits? Was metal at a point then to want to hear this type of music, or is now the right time that there's a younger generation that is looking for something new?
I think you're right that the timing is good for us, but it wasn't something that was calculated. And in that sense, we're very lucky. I mean, we're doing the same thing that we've always done. And I don't necessarily believe that the resurgence of traditional metal sort of led us into this. It really was just, hey, my wife's on vacation, come on over, let's bang out an album.
But the spontaneity of that is one of the things that makes the album sound fresh. It's an established sound or style, but it doesn't sound rehashed. It doesn't sound old, it doesn't sound cliched. It sounds very, very fresh. Yeah. And it really does sound like it could hold up with quote-unquote contemporary metal if you played it back-to-back on the radio.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. I mean, that's all that matters to us, is being true to ourselves and doing the music that comes naturally to us. It's not calculated. It's not about trying to copycat or get in on a trend. I mean, even though that's a lot of what goes on in music, we've always done the same thing, and you can hear that through our catalog. The fact that it's starting to catch on, that kind of music again in metal, is just, it's awesome for us. It just happens to be coincidental, really, and it's great.